levels, but really this all goes to Friends of Scouting. And I think the real challenge that we have over the next, hopefully not much longer than a couple of years, maybe a little bit longer, is that we are going to be raising money for the fellowship hall, which has the potential to drain some of the resources from our council that we need. And so we need to have two things running in parallel. We need to have operating revenue go through our Friends of Scouting, and at the same time we need to be raising money for our fellowship hall. And that's where we're going to need a lot of board support and activity. And this is a board which has a number of roles. Many of you are volunteers that are engaged at the local level. Some of you are leaders. This isn't the board like a lot of foundations where to sign on you need to make like such a hefty contribution of $100,000 or something like a trustees of a university. Maybe even a local community nonprofit where there'd be some sort of expectation of giving. But we certainly ask a lot of you in different ways, and we're going to ask a little bit more of you to get engaged at the board level. And I think this is important for a number of reasons. One of them is that when we're looking for larger donors to make a significant contribution, they often look at your board and see how many of you have contributed and if you're really kind of walking the walk. And so one great way that we're going to ask people to do that is through the 1973 Society. As you know, I think we had a goal of moving about 15% of our donors to some sort of planned, not planned giving in the sense of wills and estate plan giving, but consistent giving on a monthly, quarterly, annual basis. There's 3 different tiers for the 1973 Society. We've cleverly done this with the amount, although the numbers are, you can give whatever you want, but there's around $1,973 a year, $197.30 a quarter, and $19.73 a month. And so what I've asked and what I'm going to ask of you is that on the table there should be a sheet that looks like this. It's got our logo at the top, 1973 prospects down below, and then 3 kind of sections. And so this is an old fundraising trick where we're going to work on some prospects here. And all of you, we're going to make an ask to make 3 asks for the 1973 Society from people that you know. And so we're going to do just very quickly here, if I could have all of you fill out a little bit of a sheet here of some names, some prospects. So we're going to look at, and we're going to take just like a couple of minutes here. I'm going to put it on my clock. And if we have the opportunity to write down their name, phone number, and then just kind of quickly categorize them. Strong prospect. This is somebody that if you called or text right now, you know that you could get the money. Possible, but needs some cultivation. Maybe a few phone calls, maybe you have to meet them for coffee or lunch. Maybe somebody that has a lot of capacity. So you think you could get them at like around that $2,000 a year, but it's going to take maybe Glenn calling them, maybe Jim, maybe myself, maybe Justin, and that's who I would put in maybe the distant in that 3rd category. I don't want you to feel like this is like naming names, as far as getting people to contribute, but really what this is getting people an opportunity to protect and make sure that this council endures. If our professionals have a steady stream of income, they get to spend less time having to worry about every decision, and this is really a big part of that. So I'm going to put 5 minutes, I think is about as much time as I have on the clock, but questions before we do this, and I'm going to come around, maybe we'll collect this at the end. So if we could